Have you ever met someone who seems to live completely outside the digital spotlight? No selfies, no birthday posts, no travel photos, no living my best life captions. In a world where everyone documents every bite of food and every half-decent selfie, people like that seem almost mysterious. You look at their profile and it's practically empty, like a quiet room in a noisy house. But here's the interesting thing. Psychology says this behavior is not random. It's not shyness. It's not insecurity. It's not being antisocial. It's actually a window into a unique mindset, one that reveals surprising traits about their confidence, emotional balance, and the way they see the world. So today, we're decoding the real psychology behind people who don't post their photos on social media, people who prefer to live behind the scenes instead of the spotlight. Let's dive in. 1. They value privacy more than popularity. For many people, posting online is second nature. They feel pressure to share updates, to stay visible, to be part of the feed. But the ones who don't? They tend to have what psychologists call a high privacy orientation. To them, privacy isn't about hiding. It's about choosing what parts of themselves they allow the world to see. They're not avoiding people. They just prefer to protect their personal life rather than display it like a billboard. While some people feel validated by likes and comments, these individuals rely on something much more stable: inner validation. They don't need an audience to feel important. They don't need approval to feel valuable. And whether they realize it or not, this is a quiet form of inner strength. 2. They have a strong sense of identity. Research on self-concept clarity suggests that people who post less tend to know exactly who they are. They aren't confused about their personality. They don't need the world's feedback to figure themselves out. And they don't craft an online persona just to feel confident. Their identity is shaped internally, not built through photos, comments, or engagement metrics. People like this usually know their values, know what matters to them, know what they want from life, don't feel the need to perform online. Their confidence isn't loud, it's grounded. And because they're not constantly comparing themselves to others, they're far less likely to fall into the emotional traps that social media creates. 3. They are emotionally independent. Posting less often correlates with something psychologists call secure self-esteem. The healthiest type of confidence: people with secure self-esteem. Don't show off, don't chase attention, don't crumble without likes, don't rely on external validation. Their self-worth is like a stable foundation, not a balloon that needs constant refilling. They can enjoy a moment without needing to capture it. They can feel proud of an achievement without posting it. They can live fully without broadcasting every part of their life. This emotional independence protects them from the ups and downs that come with online approval. 4. They tend to be deep thinkers. People who rarely post pictures often think a lot, but they think privately. They're observers. They analyze, they reflect, they process things internally instead of publicly. This trait ties into a psychological concept called internal locus of evaluation. It means they judge themselves based on their own standards, not other people's reactions. So instead of sharing everything they do, they prefer meaningful conversations, real connections, and genuine interactions. They're not trying to impress the internet. They're more interested in understanding themselves and the world around them, and ironically, this makes them more grounded and mature than people who constantly seek validation online. 5. They see through the social media illusion. Most people know that social media is fake, but they still fall for it emotionally. They compare themselves to edited faces, curated vacations, and highlight reels. But the people who stay low-key, they understand how distorted the digital world really is. Psychologists call this social comparison theory, the idea that people measure their worth by comparing themselves with others. Those who don't post much often refuse to participate in that comparison cycle. They choose peace over performance. They see social media as a tool, not a diary, a place to connect, not compete, a platform to observe, not perform. They protect their mental space by limiting their exposure to the endless competition that social media encourages. 6. They don't tie their identity to online visibility. Some people feel invisible unless they're posting. Their sense of identity depends on how often people see them. But for those who don't post photos, visibility isn't a requirement for feeling real or valued. Their identity comes from their actions, their relationships, their goals, their experiences, not their digital footprint. They don't need to be seen to feel like they exist. And in a world obsessed with attention, that's a powerful psychological trait. 7. They prioritize real-life connections. While some people document every gathering, these individuals often prefer to be fully present rather than focused on capturing moments. They value deep conversations, one-on-one interactions, real emotional intimacy, trust and authenticity. To them, relationships happen offline, not on a feed. They don't measure friendship by how often someone tags them. They measure it through loyalty, presence, and meaningful support. 8. They don't want their life to be public property. Social media has blurred the line between personal life and public consumption. Some people overshare so much that strangers know their home, their friends, their emotions, their problems, their biggest moments, their smallest details. But the ones who don't post, they protect their life from becoming public entertainment. They choose mystery. They choose boundaries. They choose control. And that shows emotional maturity. 9. They understand that not everything needs an audience. There's a certain beauty in keeping moments just for yourself. A quiet morning, a personal victory, a family moment, a memory that doesn't need to be captured or shared. People who avoid posting pictures understand that privacy doesn't take away from the experience. It actually makes it more special. Not everything is content. Not everything is meant for the internet. Not every moment has to be packaged for public viewing. Some moments are meaningful simply because you lived them. 10. They are more emotionally resilient than people realize. Constant posting can come from insecurity, perfectionism, or fear of being forgotten. But people who stay invisible online, they usually have stronger emotional resilience. They don't crumble without attention. They don't panic about being irrelevant. They don't fear being unseen. They understand that life happens offline first. So the next time you meet someone who never posts pictures online, don't assume they're shy, introverted, or antisocial. They might actually be more self-aware, more emotionally secure, more grounded, more reflective, more confident, more independent, and far more stable than the average social media user. They don't need digital applause to feel worthy. They don't need strangers to validate their life. They don't need visibility to feel meaningful. Some people shine quietly, and that's real confidence. If you enjoy videos that reveal the hidden psychology behind human behavior, make sure to subscribe. Because here, we don't just scroll through people's lives, we decode their minds.